What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to my channel, to another episode of price action trading. It is Monday, and before we get started, let's take a look at the daily chart. Alright, so on the daily chart, we are in the process of making second leg down. This double top has convinced a lot of people there's probably time for a little bit of a correction. So we're about to make the second leg, but we don't really care about this that much. We're day traders, so let's get to the meat of the session. So today started with a little bit of gap and an uptrend working higher with a break and a new high. This is the rules of the trend lines. After break of a trend line, there is most likely going to be a new extreme. Prices went into a little bit of consolidation, and the first trade that I saw today was this failed second entry short. The reason how I found this trend line was basically from these first few lows. As you can see here, the trend line fits very nicely here, and once the prices confirm the trend line right here, you have to start paying attention that this trend line might be valid. But you cannot go long on just first entry short. You need to wait for second entry, you need to wait for higher probability setups. So prices were kind of stacking along, chopping slowly higher, and second entry short triggered right here. But this is a horrible big bearish bar, so we needed to wait on this bullish bar. So trigger above this bullish bar, at this point is a failed second entry short, excuse me. But the market luckily gave us a better entry with a lower high. This is ideal. We had the one more retest. Look at this beautiful reversal pin bar. EMA is holding, trend line is holding. You have a correction working lower here, you have a break and 2 legs to a new low. So you got multiple plays, multiple rules in place. This was a good place to go long. It worked for a quick easy scalp, and then prices kind of broke and retested to make a new high. But you can clearly see this is a double top right here, and there is some resistance forming, strong resistance forming here. There are 2 tops right here, and we made a quadruple top. Prices pulled back and attempted, and now we get multiple tops. You cannot go long into this. It was very tempting to try to catch a long, to go make a new extreme, but you cannot ignore, always have to adapt. You cannot ignore this resistance line. This is a no-no. You cannot go long into this because there is a multiple tops forming here. So you have to go long here at the key entry points. Then it's a little bit lower, market is still correcting. Now you're already way too close to highs. So by the time you get this setup, it is still a first entry, pullback, first entry, and second entry trigger right here. But at this point, yes, EMA is holding, but you're going long into very clear, strong resistance, and you have to respect the resistance. So you have to skip. This is not a good signal bar anyway, but it is a first entry pullback, second entry long at this point, and it's above the EMA, but the resistance is so strong, you have to skip this trade. Market shot through EMA. At this point, I was kind of waiting for failed second entry long, but failed second entry long came right here, and you're going short at the very low of the move and into the lower trend channel line, which I don't like. And then you get this. At this point, you make the new low here, and it's just the first entry short and a failed second entry short trigger right here. Failed second entry long, excuse me, trigger right here. I didn't really like that setup that much, and I still don't like it now. It is a break of this trend line, and you make a new low, but nevertheless, it's not the key entry point, so I think you want to skip this to wait for more higher probability setups and take a look where prices bounced. There's clearly a resistance support forming here. At the very open, we came back, filled the gap. We filled the gap even more right here. But this is how important it is to find the key levels early on before you even start trading, so you not get caught off guard. The day is now starting to look very range-like. You're working up and down. And this was the first trade that I took today. I actually missed this trade, but I actually took this trade because you look at this new low. You have a pullback, first entry short. You spike through EMA. Look at this big bullish bar, acting like EMA is not even there. We shot through it and pull back and make a second entry short, which failed. And it is off the trend line, and it is above the EMA. So this is a little bit of a key entry point, but more importantly, it is a failed second entry short, and market moves in twos. Remember, two-legged pullbacks are a real thing. So I took this trade. It was a good enough for multiple takes, but we are just interested in scalps. I was kind of surprised that we turned down like this really quickly. I wasn't really expecting this. I wasn't really thinking, you know, the market is gonna go down at this point that much. So this was a good long, and this is why I like to wait for higher lows if you're buying or lower highs if you're selling. You don't want to go long on this first attempt. It is a bounce of the support, but it's just the first attempt. You kind of make a second low. It's a little, you know, technically it's not higher low, but it can serve that way. Waiting for the higher low or that, you know, one more attempt is much higher probability that the trade is going to win, because look at, you don't know how many traders went short. Look at this beautiful bearish reversal bar, and a lot of people went short directly into this support, and when the prices bounce on them so quickly, nice reversal bullish bar. It is at the key entry point. The key level is holding at this point still, so this is where you want to go long. Prices pull back to the EMA. This is a new low. Pull back, first entry, pull back, second entry. Once again, two-legged pullback. This is what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for two-legged pullback at the key entry point. And this is a first entry pullback, second entry short, second attempt by the bears to go lower, and it is off the EMA. It is kind of difficult for new people to reverse on here just like that, you know, just like on the dime, because now you're thinking long and you're going short. Once again, maybe you are even holding a runner and you're hoping the prices will reach these highs of the range day. But I really like this setup. It is a second entry short at the EMA, and this big move down kind of starting to look a little bit more convincing. So prices spike through the support, pull back, and this is why I always tell you that most breakouts of trading ranges fail. Even if the trend is still gonna continue in the direction of the breakout, you still want to fade the correction. If you want to sell this, you still want to sell the breakout pullback. You just don't want to be selling the breakouts. It is very suboptimal strategy because most breakouts will fail. And I forgot to mark this setup. This is where I went short and I got trapped here. I was looking at this. It is under the EMA. I was looking at this first entry pullback, second entry long that failed. But at this point, there's a lot of congestion. But you know, looking back, I still thought, we might get. Looking back, I still think we might get, the scalp. It didn't work at this point. Whatever that happens, nothing in trading is 100%. But once the prices are now starting to go lower and lower, you need to, because there's clearly something going on with this. This is not just, excuse me, I'm just gonna fit in here. Because when the prices are making lower highs and lower lows, I'm always thinking there must be some sort of trend line. So by the time we got here, this is actually not, excuse me, I'm gonna make it a little bit better. By the time we got here, this is a third bounce of this trend line. This trend line got confirmed here, and this is a third bounce of the trend line. Unfortunately, I wasn't paying attention because once I saw this chop, this little bit of consolidation, I wasn't paying attention at the market. I was doing other stuff, so I missed this trade. But you can see there's a choppy trend line working higher. You have a break, you have a new high, you have a double top here, and it's off the trend line. If you're paying attention, this is probably a good trade, but like I said, unfortunately I've missed this one. And to be honest, it's quite hard to take a trade after a loser back to back like that. So I kind of had to take a break a little bit, but nevertheless prices spike down lower quickly, like the EMA is not even there, and now it's clear that the trend line is there. You can find the trend line now. You got 3 touches of the trend line. You're making lower highs each time. Each low is lower than previous lows, and each high is lower than previous highs. So this is a sign that we are in a downtrend, and you only want to go short at the key entry point. Like I said, we're waiting for prices come to us. I don't want to chase the trades. I don't want to chase the market. I don't want to go low at the very low of these moves. I want to higher probability setups, and they are the key entry points. And in this case, it's a trend line working lower. So this was my last trade of the day that I took. You have a new low right here. Bulls are now working higher. You have a correction working higher. You have a break and a new high. You are still ways away from the trend line, so you still cannot go short here. You have to wait for clear bounce of the trend line, and you make one more push higher. And I was kind of thinking I might be done for the day, but when I saw this beautiful setup, because this is a fourth bounce off the trend line, and you cannot ignore this. This is very easy to see now, this trend line working lower, and this is a fourth bounce. You have a break and in 2 legs to a new high of this correction working higher, so you got multiple reasons to go short. It was a quick easy scalp. Unfortunately they came back and got my runner, but you know, this is how ES is. The S&P 500 is very efficient, and this most of the time it will kill your runner. I don't know why, but it is very efficient. They like to come back and take out those stops. And the last setup for the day that I marked, according to rules, is this failed second entry long. Pullback, first entry, pullback, second entry, it is off the trend line, failed second entry long, in and downtrend, under the EMA, multiple reasons. It probably scared you a little bit, but you have to write it out. You have to put your stop above the signal bar. You're using a price structure to protect your stop. You would have write it out and you would have been okay, and it was easy for way more than 10 ticks. So, and the market kind of just bottomed out, and I don't like trading too late, so this is the end for the day. But just take a look at this first big trend line that I found. A lot of times I found these trend lines just from the very first few swings. And it doesn't mean that I will always find those. Sometimes I will draw the trend line and prices act like it's not even there, and they shot through it and I delete the trend line. But a lot of times, every day before I start to trade, I try to draw my trend line, trying to find these trend lines from the first few swings. And in this case, the trend line got confirmed here. You also have a break and a new low of this trend line working lower. So it's now a reason to go higher. And with this failed second entry short above the EMA up off the trend line, this is very high probability setups. This is, if you just wait for the prices come to you and at the key entry points, you will be much more successful trader. This is it from me, guys. Just remember, follow the rules, wait for prices come to you, be patient, and don't forget to study your chart after the day is over. You want to learn from your mistakes, and you even want to learn from your winner. Maybe you just got lucky and you didn't follow the rules, you jumped the gun, and you just got lucky, and you don't want to take this trade into the next day. So hopefully this video was insightful to you guys, and I wish you safe trading. Bye guys.